Hey folks, it's day two of my Halloween Mayothon, and today I want to talk about a movie that I first saw in 1975 when I was a kid and when it premiered on television, and it was terrifying back in the day, and it's called Trilogy of Terror, and I know a lot of you are going to recognize this right away. This was a very unusual movie for its time on television back in the mid 70s, and it tells three tales, three different stories starring the late actress Karen Black. And Richard Matheson wrote the best tale in here, which is the final one, and we'll talk about this. Okay, the first two stories of the anthology, if you will, they're not very interesting, to tell you the truth. Karen Black does a pretty good job in there. In the first one, she plays a shy kind of school teacher that is kind of like blackmailed and stalked by one of her aggressive students who's a little touched in the head, you might say. But it's interesting how things play out, though. That much you can say, kind of a twist there. The second one has Karen Black playing the role of two sisters. It's a dual performance, two characters, and they're kind of like against odds with each other. They're very different, and one's trying to get control of the other one, and so forth. And I'm really just zipping past these two stories because the first two stories are, worth seeing one time. And I've seen them more than once, but I don't really need to see them again. Anytime I really grab this, it's always to put the third story on, which is a story about a Zuni fetish doll, and there it is, and it's a pretty like weird looking, scary looking thing, and it comes to life. That's the idea of it, and attacks Karen Black's character in the final story, running around her apartment where she's all alone and helpless, and mercilessly stabbing at her, cutting her, screaming. This doll has a really weird kind of voice. I know some people have said it's kind of funny, but the kind of sounds this native doll makes will really, for most people, put I don't know, little bumps on your skin. I don't know whether it'll put laughs in your belly. I don't know. But it's interesting because, as I say, anybody who's ever seen Trilogy of Terror remembers the final story with the doll. And you got to try to remember in 1975, there wasn't a lot of this going on back then. You got to sometimes put these things back into the perspective of when they first were aired. And say this is primetime television, a regular slot there. It was not a theatrical movie, but it really was intense. It's very intense, unrelenting. The kind of fight she has for preservation against this crazy possessed doll that comes to life on her. It's really worth seeing. You have to watch this at least for the last chapter in here. But now over the years, okay, I'll say this much: I have two nephews, and when they were very little, they wanted to see something scary, so I showed them this, and both of them were terrified. I didn't show them the first two stories. I zipped ahead, to the third, and yeah, they never forgot it. They were afraid of it. And in recent years, the last couple of times that I watched this chapter, the last one, I really began to feel as though it didn't really register anymore. It kind of lost its potency, and that's sad when that happens, because what's terrifying first time you see it, or what's terrifying 50 years ago, isn't as terrifying now sometimes, unless it really holds up. But here's the catch with this: although the last couple of times I didn't really get anything out of this, the story, by the way, is called Amelia. That's the name of the third chapter, in case you want to look it up, Amelia. Um, I will say that even though I didn't get anything out of it the last two times, when I watched it just last night or the night before on Svengoolie, which it was being aired, as I say, I really felt it worked again. I watched it with my girlfriend, who is kind of like a chicken when it comes to this stuff, and she was affected by it. Ask your parents, ask your people who are older. Do you remember being scared to death of this when it was on TV? They'll tell you yes. So what do you think? Does it hold up? As I say, I was very happy to see that the last time that I bought it, last time I watched it, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of two things here with this. Last couple of times I watched it, it lost some of its potency. But I think on this Svengoolie show, it might have been upgraded as far as picture quality goes. I'm sure this is on a Blu-ray by now. This is a DVD from Dark Sky Films. I liked it enough and felt it was powerful enough again this time to maybe get an upgrade, and this time go to an HD Blu-ray of this. So I will get more spins, but as I say, if you want to look at the first two stories, they're interesting. They got some interesting things about them, intriguing parts, but they don't warrant a lot of repeat views. The last one with the Zuni fetish doll, yeah, that's the stuff that nightmares are made out of, and it's done so well in a story by Richard Matheson, originally called Prey was the name of his story, and it's adapted here for the TV movie. All right, so folks, I hope you like that. Join me for the next episode in what I call Halloween Mayothon this year, 2023.